Hi, welcome back. So yesterday you learned how rapid transformational therapy will make you abundant. Today I'm going to tell you about something called the rules of the mind. It's an important part of our TT, and I spent many years putting it together. It really helps you to know how your mind works, and when you know how it works, you know how to make it work better. So let me take you through the rules of the mind and how they apply particularly to abundance. The first rule of the mind is what is expected tends to be realized. When you look at a mood board, when Sean Connery looked at that gold Rolls Royce and said, "I will drive that." When Whoopi Goldberg said, "I will be a movie star," even though everyone says it's not possible, when you expect something, it tends to be realized. How often do we say, "I know I'm going to get sick because I've been staying up too late. I went out in the rain. I know I'm going to get the flu. My friend came over sneezing and now I'm going to get sick." That's a terrible thing to say. I'm going to get sick. I ate a cake. I'm going to get fat. Science has proved amazingly, if you say I gain weight looking at food, you start to make cortisol. It's a stress hormone that helps your body lay down fat. How about the other way? I expect to be wealthy. I expect to make more and more money. I know that my ideas are so good, I can monetize them. I expect to monetize my ideas, who I am. I've got something of value to offer. It's worth money. I can sell my ideas. Because if you believe that, what is expect tends to be realized. That's a number one rule of the mind. Here's the number two rule of the mind. Imagination is more powerful than knowledge when dealing with your mind. And so when you can imagine something, the knowledge that says you can't do that doesn't exist. You know, there are so many breakthroughs in medical science now that didn't happen before because someone had an imagination. When people are deaf, we can put magnets inside them and they can hear. So the imagination that you can have abundance will defeat any logic that says otherwise. Here's another rule of the mind. It's almost the same. Imagination is more powerful than logic. If you stand at the top of a really high building and look down, logic says, well, I'm completely safe. The glass is that thick. I did that at the CN Tower in Toronto, but when I look down, my imagination makes my stomach go, and it says, get away from the edge, you crazy idiot. You could fall. You see, you and I could all stand on this chair. Wouldn't be anything. Our imagination says, I can stand on that chair. But if the chair is a balcony hundreds of feet up and there's no railings, the imagination says, are you mad? You're going to fall off and kill yourself. So imagination overrules logic. In a battle between imagination, the imagination will always win. So use your imagination. Imagine yourself as abundant. Imagine yourself wealthy, healthy, loved, in loving relationships. If you can imagine it, you can make it happen. Here's another rule of the mind. Your mind always does what it thinks you want it to do. This is such an important rule of the mind. Your mind does what it really believes you want and what it thinks is in your very best interest. And it bases that on something you told it 20 years ago. I don't want people to look at me. I can never speak up in case I go red. I couldn't bear being rejected. I never put my hand up because I did that when I was 6. Everyone laughed and I remember it. So you've told your mind, I don't want it. I promise you this is true. If there's anything in your life that you haven't got and that you want, your mind thinks you don't want it. And if there's anything you have got that you don't want, like procrastination, sabotaging yourself, putting yourself last, your mind thinks, no, you do want that. Because once upon a lifetime ago, you said, I'd rather die than get rejected. I'd give anything not to have to do that oral exam at school. I can't stand talking to people. I'm too scared to ask for something in case it goes wrong. And so your mind does what it thinks you want. If you ask for a pay rise and your boss says, get out of here, who do you think you are? You're not worth that. You go, oh, I'll never do that again. Never, never, never. You meant not for the next 6 months. Your mind heard forever and ever for the rest of your life. So your mind's job, do what it thinks you want. Tell it what you want. I want abundance in all those areas. I want it. I require it. I insist on it for myself, and I'm prepared to do whatever it takes. I'm going to do this course diligently, listen to every recording, go through every module, connect to the tribe. I want it. I want to do this. When your mind knows you want something, it sets you on fire. It'll keep you up all night working towards what you told it you want. If you say you don't want it, your mind will do everything to move you away from it. Because another rule of the mind is your mind's job is to move you away from pain and towards pleasure. That makes sense. It's a survival instinct. But you get to choose what pain or pleasure is. Some people link pleasure to pain. People who are getting tattooed link pleasure to needles. Some people link pain to pleasure. I don't want to go on that Eurotunnel in case it gets blown up. I can't get on a plane in case it falls out of the sky and I die. You're the only person, humans are the only people on the planet who can choose what pain and pleasure is. I couldn't put my cat in jacuzzi and go, isn't this amazing? Because they don't like water. I couldn't take a husky dog on the beach in Hawaii and go, isn't this 90 degrees temperature? Okay, they go, not for me, I hate it. But we get to choose. And if you want to have abundance, you must link pleasure. You can't say, oh, working weekends, I miss my favorite movie. I'm not out with my friends. You got to go, I love working weekends. I love writing my business and building my website. I love anything and everything that makes me abundance. I love talking to people. I love going to the gym. You see, when you have a brilliant brain, here's your choice. Rationalize why things are bad. Talk yourself out of it. I hate the gym. It makes me ache and it's not fun and it's boring. Or my body loves it. My body's designed to run, jump, move, and it loves doing what it's meant to do. So be very clear that your mind wants to move you towards pleasure and away from pain. Make abundance pleasure. Make abundant mindset, abundant health and wealth and relationships pleasure. And make scarcity pain, and then you'll do more to move towards it. Here's another lovely rule of the mind that's so simple. Your mind responds to two things: the pictures you make in your head and the words you say to yourself. You see, if a 2-year-old got hold of a gun, they don't make a picture that's going to kill them. That's why you must never have guns around children, because they don't have a picture of fear. They don't go to the top of a building and think, oh my God, I'm going to fall, when they're very little, because they don't make pictures. I could have a ladybug on my hand or a butterfly right now, but not a worm, not a cockroach, because the picture is wrong. So you respond to two things. The way you feel is down to two things: the pictures you make in your head and the words you say to yourself. And the great news is you can change those pictures and change those words. And that's why it's good to hold money and to go, the more money I have, the more money I get, to feel comfortable with money. Open your bank statements and go, yeah, next year there's going to be so much money, next month, next week. I'm an abundant person. I have abundant ideas. I monetize myself. And your mind will respond to those pictures and respond to those words, and never use words like, I don't know where the money's coming from. I don't know how to get them in. I'll never be able to afford that. That's beyond my wildest dreams. I'll never get to fly first class because it's too expensive. No, I'm on a jet. I'm in that bed. I'm being served coffee. They've got a shower and I'm experiencing. Feel it, see it, sense it. Remember, you respond to the words and pictures. Your life's exciting when you make the words and pictures compelling. Your life's compelling. Use abundant words. I have enough. It comes to me. The more I give, the more I get. People like it when I charge more because it represents my skill, my expertise. Change the words, change the pictures, and everything will change. Here's a great rule of the mind for you. The mind learns by repetition. When you repeat something, it starts to get embedded in the mind, and there it stays until it's replaced by something else. So when you repeat the audios over and over again, your mind is learning to move you towards wealth. When you constantly look at your mood board and repeat some of the words you've written on it, your mind is learning to take you to that. You go towards that success and it comes towards you because the mind learns by repetition. Wire that into yourself. Repeat good stuff to yourself and not negative. You have a choice. If you want to, you can repeat tons of negative stuff. That's your choice. But you know what you can't choose? What happens to you when you fill your mind up with negative thoughts? You get sick, you get stressed, you get ill, you get depressed. Why would you do that when you have a choice? Your mind learns by repetition. Repeat positive stuff about abundance and your mind will learn to take you to abundance and it will keep you there. How cool is that? Another rule of the mind, which we've already touched on, is that the mind loves what is familiar. We prefer to keep you with what is familiar. But here's something to consider. You can make anything you like familiar. Once upon a time, peeing in a toilet wasn't familiar, but we all pee in a toilet now. It's completely familiar. We don't go, oh, you know, when I was 2, I tried to eat a banana and I got it in my hair. I couldn't get it in my mouth. I just gave up trying to eat. It's too difficult. You can make anything familiar. So if procrastinating is familiar, make it unfamiliar. If sabotaging yourself is familiar, work to make it unfamiliar. One of the things you must do is go, I will make sabotaging myself unfamiliar and believing in myself familiar. And here are the things to make familiar today. Believe in yourself, praise yourself, big up yourself. And every time you do it, go, I'm making this familiar. Say it and say it till your mind goes, you know what, you say this all the time, must be true. And it lets it in. It will let anything in. It lets it in like lotion on dry skin. You have to train your mind to let in good stuff and to shut out bad stuff. This is a great belief for you. The mind cannot hold conflicting beliefs. They cancel each other out. When you give the mind conflicting beliefs, I want to be wealthy, but what if nobody likes me? I want loads of money, but then I won't have any friends. They'll be jealous of me. People will use me. I want to have love, but what if I get dumped? I could never come back from that. You see how you have conflicting beliefs. I want to be healthy, but I can't afford healthy food. And anyway, I love Krispy Kreme donuts. I can't imagine giving those up. When you have conflicting beliefs, they cancel each other out. So I want you to take a little bit of time, and we're going to do this throughout the quest, to really focus on erasing old beliefs to conflict with the new ones. I'm already wealthy. I live in an abundant world. Everything is there. I'm wealthy. I'm healthy. I'm wise. I have a wealthy state of mind. If you keep saying that and saying it, your mind takes you towards whatever you focus on, because whatever we focus on, we move towards and get more of. And that only stops when you have beliefs that conflict. So fill up your mind with good beliefs. And when you think them, say them, read them, write them, speak them, believe them, guess what you're not doing? Of course, you're not thinking, speaking, believing the negative ones. And that's very good news indeed. Another rule of the mind is first we make our beliefs, but then our beliefs turn around and make us. And so if you make your beliefs and your beliefs make you, why don't you make your beliefs amazing? Because your mind, I promise you, does not care if what you're told is right or wrong, good or bad, true or false, healthy or unhealthy. Let's put them into action. So today you've learnt about the rules of the mind, these very important rules that came about from studying very successful people's minds and working out what do they have in common, what do they think, what do they believe, what do they do. And you've seen how each of the rules of the mind applies to abundance and how you can make that rule work for you or indeed make it work against you, depending on your thinking, which is always yours to change. So you've learned something very important. Share it with other people. So your exercise for today is to go through the rules of the mind. I want you to look at the rules of the mind and I want you to understand how they apply to your abundance. This is just about you. And when you come to one that is really relevant, I want you to change it. Here's a good one for you. Your mind responds to the words and pictures in your head, so write out the words and pictures you make about money. Are you scared of money? Many people are scared of money. Oh, I couldn't handle that much money. They're actually nervous about more. They're scared of leaving their comfort zone. Or when you get money, do you hold on to it so tightly, not spend it in case it runs out? And then think about the pictures you're putting in your head and the words you're saying to yourself and change them. Let's go to the pleasure pain. Your mind is always going to move you towards pleasure and away from pain. Do you have a belief that if you ask people for money, they'll laugh at you? If you try to crowdfund, nobody will give you any money. If you go to ask your boss for a raise, he might fire you because you are linking pain, not pleasure, to asking for more money. Do you use the word money rather than investment? I can't afford to pay for that. That's too much money. So remember, you must link incredible pleasure to attracting more and more wealth and not pain. Look at the rules of your mind. Go through every single one. I know there's a lot, but go through each one. And I want you with each one to go, oh, right, how has that rule of the mind increased or limited my abundance? Go to the next one. How am I using that rule of the mind? And how, in my case, is that rule of the mind increasing or limiting my ability to be wealthy and abundant? Go through all of them. You'll be really surprised at some of the things you come up with. And then, of course, go into the tribe and share your findings. Ask some questions. Who else here has realized that, oh, of course, when I keep saying I'm going to run out of money, I run out of money because I didn't understand fully that my mind and body act in a way that matches my thinking. And tomorrow is such an exciting day. It's your RTT session where you get your audio. This all comes together and is kind of imprinted, wired, embedded in your mind and starts to elicit really powerful and super exciting changes. I can't wait for you to experience it tomorrow.